Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we are going to start the second chapter from your Moments book. The name of the chapter is The Adventures of Toto, written by Mr. Ruskin Bond. Mr. Ruskin Bond is of British descent. He was born to British parents in pre-independent India, and currently he lives in Mussoorie with his adopted Indian family. Mr. Bond is important because Ruskin Bond is important because he wrote many stories over his life. He is still alive today, and as a result he wrote mainly about nature and children's stories. So he is regarded as having forwarded the children's literature in India and also outside India. So that is his place in the literary canon, and he is very famous and very widely read, especially by children, because his stories deal with nature, wild animals, and the interaction of human beings with wild animals and their effects. So very interesting thing to study about. So let's jump into the short story. The name of the story, as I have short stories already I have told you, is The Adventures of Toto, which is written by Mr. Ruskin Bond. So before we start the chapter, I hope you have already marked the paragraphs. So if you have marked the paragraphs, you will find that there are in total 20 paragraphs in this short story, and at the end there is also a glossary with word meanings. So that is a good news in this chapter. So let's start the story. Come to paragraph 1. So the Toto, let us find out who is Toto and what type of adventures does Toto have, or Toto does. Paragraph 1. Grandfather bought Toto from a Tonga driver. Immediately underline Tonga driver. Do you know what is a Tonga driver? You don't see Tonga drivers nowadays. Tonga driver is a horse carriage puller. A person, this is not in our times, this is earlier in the past when there were less automobiles on the roads. That time animals used to draw carriages, and when a single horse used to draw a carriage, that was called a tonga, and the person who drove it or operated that cart was called a tonga driver. So grandfather bought Toto from a tonga driver for the sum of 5 rupees. So you see, Toto was bought by grandfather. That is whose grandfather? The narrator's grandfather. That means we can call it the story writer's or the author's grandfather. The tonga driver used to keep the little red monkey tied to a feeding trough. Underline this, feeding trough. And the monkey looked so out of place there that grandfather decided he would add the little fellow to his private zoo. So first paragraph gives us a brief idea what it is, that Toto is a little red monkey which belonged to a tonga driver, and the driver kept the monkey tied, okay, to a feeding trough. That is a kind of utensil where the monkey used to just feed. The tonga driver used to put some food there, and monkey used to feed from the trough. So it's basically you can call it a utensil, okay, plate, a sort of plate for the monkey. And the monkey looked very out of place in the tonga, and the grandfather, he saw it, and he decided that he had his tiny zoo. The grandfather maybe loved animals, and that's why he decided that he would add the monkey to his private zoo. Coming to second paragraph, Toto was a pretty monkey. His bright eyes sparkled with mischief beneath deep-set eyebrows, and his teeth, which were a pearly white, were often displayed in a smile that frightened the life out of elderly Anglo-Indian ladies. So Anglo-Indian ladies are British women, okay, elderly British women who have settled in India, who used to live in India at that time. But his hands looked dried up as though they had been pickled in the sun for many years. Pickled means, in common language we call it achar. So a monkey's hand, have you seen a monkey closely? The hands of the monkey are very thin, okay, so it looks like it has almost dried up in the sun. It's so thin. You must have seen things dried up in the sun, how they shrink. So his hands also appeared, the monkey's hands appeared like this. And this second paragraph gives us the description of the monkey. Yet his fingers were quick and wicked, and his tail, while adding to his good looks, in brackets, grandfather believed a tail would add to anyone's good looks, also served as a third hand. He could use it to hang from a branch, and it was capable of scooping up any delicacy that might be out of reach of his hands. So second paragraph gives us description of Toto completely. What are the important things in this paragraph? That his eyes were bright, okay, and his eyes showed mischief, okay, that something naughty was going on behind those eyes, and deep set eyebrows. And his teeth, what was the color of the teeth? Which was pearly white, and they were often displayed in a smile. Have you seen how monkeys smile? They just open their mouth and all the teeth is visible when they smile, so it looks like they're mocking, okay, but that is the smile of monkeys. And this made elderly Anglo-Indian ladies very scared or frightened. And his hands looked very dried up, okay, and shrinked, means smaller in size compared to their body. And he also had a third hand. His third hand was the tail, which grandfather loved the tail very much, and he believed that everybody should have a tail, which accentuated the looks of the person. He could use it to hang from a branch. I'm sure you have seen monkeys hanging with the help of their tails from branches or any other place. And it was capable of scooping up any delicacy that might be out of reach of his hands. So the monkey was capable of getting to things which seemed out of its reach. Out of its reach, it seemed that it would be able to get, and the monkey used to get the things like that. Moving on to paragraph 3. Grandmother always fussed when grandfather brought home some new bird or animal. So it was decided that Toto's presence should be kept a secret from her until she was in a particularly good mood. Grandfather and I put him away in a little closet opening into my bedroom wall, where he was tied securely. So we thought to a peg fastened into the wall. So the author is now coming into the picture, and he tells that our grandmother was not a person who took to pets very kindly. She did not like them so much. So grandfather and the author decided to keep it a secret. So what did they do? They took it to the bedroom. They tied it to a peg, okay, with the help of a rope, and they thought it was secured there. But it's a monkey. You cannot keep a monkey tied up. Paragraph 4. A few hours later, when grandfather and I came back to release Toto, we found that the walls, which had been covered with some ornamental paper chosen by grandfather, now stood out as naked brick and plaster. The peg in the wall had been wrenched from its socket, and my school blazer, which had been hanging there, was in shreds. I wondered what grandmother would say, but grandfather didn't worry. He seemed pleased with Toto's performance. So now you see, this is kind of funny. They tied up the monkey. They thought it was safe, but what happens? Once they return to the bedroom, they find everything is in destruction. Everything is almost destroyed. Whatever was inside the room, the wall had say some papers, okay, wallpaper, beautiful wallpaper selected by their grandfather. All the wallpapers had been drawn out that the monkey could reach. The rope that was tied to the peg in the wall, that had been wrenched out, that had been pulled out from the floor. The monkey had some strength. And the school blazer, all of you have school blazers, and the blazer was unfortunately inside the room, and the monkey got his hands on the blazer and it had torn the blazer to shreds and pieces. You cannot wear the blazer anymore. So these are the destructive things that the monkey has already done. And suddenly the author remembers, what would grandmother say? But his grandfather was happy with the performance of the monkey, because it's a monkey after all. It's like a very notorious child who cannot sit still. It is very curious and destroys. Their way of destroying thing is actually their curiosity. They want to know what that thing is, what it does. Paragraph 5. He's clever, said grandfather. Given time, I'm sure he could have tied the torn pieces of your blazer into a rope and made his escape from the window. So grandfather thinks the monkey is clever as well, that he has torn the blazer, and he thinks the author's blazer, the monkey could have used it as a rope, tied it up, small pieces, tied it up and used it as a rope to escape from the window. His presence in the house still a secret, Toto was now transferred to a big cage in the servants' quarters, where a number of grandfather's pets lived very sociably together. So what are the pets here? A tortoise, a pair of rabbits, a tame squirrel, and for a while my pet goat. So the author also had a pet. It was a pet goat. But the monkey wouldn't allow any of his companions to sleep at night. So grandfather, who had to leave Dehradun next day to collect his pension in Saharanpur, decided to take him along. So these are the animals that the grandfather had as his pets. One was a tortoise, a pair of rabbits, okay, a tame squirrel. Now these animals that we're mentioning are not very notorious as a monkey, and all these animals lived in the servant quarters. Okay, now remember, the grandmother still doesn't know about the existence of this monkey named Toto. And next day the grandfather had to go to Dehradun to collect his pension in Saharanpur. So he decided that it was better if he took the monkey with him rather than keep the monkey at his house. Okay, so come to paragraph 7. Unfortunately, I could not accompany grandfather on that trip, but he told me about it afterwards. So let's learn about what happened in the trip. A big black canvas kit bag was provided for Toto. So it was a bag, big black canvas bag, underline it also, which was provided as a house or a carry bag where Toto was put. This, with some straw at the bottom, became the new abode. Underline the word abode. Abode means a house, a home, house. So some straws were also put in the bed so as to make the bag more comfortable for Toto. When the bag was closed, there was no escape. Toto could not get his hands through the opening, and the canvas was too strong for him to bite his way through. His efforts to get out only had the effect of making the bag roll about on the floor or occasionally jump into the air, an exhibition that attracted a curious crowd of onlookers on the Dehradun railway platform. So in this journey, something happens. What happens is, the bag in which Toto was put, inside this bag Toto tried to escape, but the bag was too strong for Toto. So what used to happen is, when Toto tried to move inside the bag used to roll over, okay, and sometimes Toto wanted to jump out, so the bag also jumped with him, but the bag did not give way for Toto to escape. And this incident also happened in the railway station. Now imagine a bag jumping in air in the middle of a railway station. What will happen? People will be curious. They will want to know what is inside the bag. But can you open the bag and show it to the people? If you open the bag, most probably the monkey is going to run away and create a bigger mess. So what happened was, paragraph 8, Toto remained in the bag as far as Saharanpur, but while grandfather was producing his ticket at the railway turnstile, Toto suddenly poked his head out of the bag and gave the ticket collector a wide grin. So see, the monkey now suddenly picks out his neck from the bag, and the TT, that is the ticket collector, he smiles at the ticket collector. And what happens when the monkey smiles? We have already encountered it. When a monkey smiles, people most probably get scared, right? So the ticket collector was taken aback. Paragraph 9. The poor man was taken aback, but with great presence of mind and much to grandfather's annoyance, he said, "Sir, you have a dog with you. You will have to pay for it accordingly." So the ticket collector is doing his duty. He is not realizing that this is a monkey. He thinks it's a dog, because who will think that people are going to carry monkeys inside their bags? So he assumes, in spite of seeing the face, the ticket collector assumes that it's a dog and says, if you have to carry a dog on the railways, you'll have to pay something extra for it. In vain did grandfather take Toto out of the bag. In vain did he try to prove that a monkey did not qualify as a dog or even as a quadruped. Toto was classified a dog by the ticket collector, and 3 rupees was the sum handed over as his fare. So now we need to compare. How much was Toto bought for from the Tonga driver? He was bought for 5 rupees. And how much is his fare in the train? 3 rupees. Almost 60% of the actual value of Toto. Right? That is expensive, kind of. But grandfather also tried to make the TT understand that this was not a dog. This was rather a monkey that he was carrying. But and since there is another word you need to underline, quadruped. Quadruped means animal with 4 legs. Okay, any animal which has 4 legs is called a quadruped. Quadruped. So he was trying to tell that he was trying to show it to the TT that monkey has 2 hands and 2 legs, not 4 legs. A dog has 4 legs, so it does not qualify as a quadruped, and if it is not a quadruped, it can never be a dog, right? But this logic was lost on the ticket collector. So maybe there were no rules as to how much to charge for a monkey. Maybe that was the reason why the TT decided to charge a dog's fare for Toto. So this is what happened, and this is the end of paragraph 10. So please go through the short story till paragraph 10. In the second part, we are going to discuss the rest of the story, the remaining 10 paragraphs, and please underline the words and use your dictionary to find the word meanings. Okay, you have to have the habit of using dictionary since all of us are doing self-study. So I have made you underline a few words. Please find the words in the dictionary and write the word meanings. Okay, till then, take care and see you soon.